Hi, how's it going? Welcome to Code with Z. In today's video, we have to see if we have a cycle in our linked list or not. Why? Well, because that's what LeetCode 141 linked list cycle is asking us to do. As you can see, it says, given head, the head of a linked list. So for example, this 3 that we have here, this is the head of our linked list. Determine if the linked list has a cycle in it or not. And it just explains what a cycle is. But basically, as you can see, we go back to our linked list from the -4. So that's why it says there's a cycle in a linked list if there's some node in the list that can be reached again by continuously following the next pointer. And here it says return true if there is a cycle and false if there isn't one. Okay, let's see how we can solve this. Well, clearly we have a cycle, right? But let's see how you can actually detect this. Let's bring this down and we're going to have a really simple algorithm. So we just basically have to track if there's a repetition, if there's a cycle inside of our linked list. So we can do this with 2 pointers. Why 2 pointers? Well, because we're doing a comparison, right? So we're going to name the first pointer slow, and this is going to be equal to the head. So it's going to be pointing to the head like so, slow. And we're going to have another pointer called fast, and this is going to be equal to head.next. So whatever the head is pointing to, and that's going to be this 2 over here, right? And then we're going to simply loop through this linked list as long as fast and fast.next are not pointing to null. So as long as fast or fast.next are pointing to a node, they're not null, we're just going to keep on looping. I'm going to show you how this is going to work. So we have a pointer called slow and fast, right? So this basically means this one is going to be basically going through the linked list in a slower way compared to the fast one, right? So let's see how we can actually do this. During our loop, we're going to do 3 simple things. So the first thing that we need to check is if fast and slow are pointing to the same node. If they're pointing to the same node, meaning slow is going through the linked list in a slower way and fast is going in a faster way, right? So if there's a cycle somewhere in this linked list, fast has to catch up with slow. Once that happens, once fast and slow are pointing to the same node, that means there is a cycle. And I apologize for my voice, I'm basically like a little bit sick, but that's the plan. So if fast reaches back to slow and they're pointing to the same node, that means we have a cycle. And each time during our loop, we're going to check if they're pointing to the same thing. If they were, we're going to return true. And if that was not the case, we're just going to say slow should be slow.next and fast should be fast.next.next. Why? Well, because again, this is fast, so it has to go faster compared to slow. Now let's see how this is going to play out. So we are in the loop. We're going to check if fast and slow are pointing to the same thing. Nope. All right. So slow is equal to slow.next like so. And fast is equal to fast.next.next.next like so. All right. Again, we're going to check if they're pointing to the same thing. Clearly, they're not pointing to the same thing. So again, slow is equal to slow.next. Fast is equal to fast.next.next like so. So the next of this one is this one, and the next of this one is this one, right? So now we're going to check if fast and slow are pointing to the same node. Well, would you look at that? They are. So in this case, we're going to return true because we have a cycle, and that's going to be it. Now let's code this in the simplest way possible. Alrighty, let's code this together. So just like we saw in the slides, we have to have a variable called slow, and this is going to be equal to head, just like we saw in the slides. And then we have fast, and this is going to be equal to head.next. Then we have our loop. We're going to say while fast is not pointing to null and fast.next is not pointing to null, do the following. Here we're going to say if fast simply is equal to slow, return true. If we don't return true, we're going to say slow is equal to slow.next, and then fast is equal to fast.next.next. And if we actually exit the loop without returning true, we're going to return false because that means we don't have a cycle. But what will happen if this is a null or head.next is a null? Meaning if we don't have a linked list at all, or we have one node, just like you see here, we don't have a cycle. So we're going to say if head does not exist or head.next does not exist, just return false because we don't have a cycle. Now let's run this and see if we can actually get accepted. And we got accepted. Awesome. Now let's submit this and see if we can actually pass all of the test cases. Moment of truth, and yep, we got accepted. That's awesome. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and keep on coding.